I just thought I'd play. What? I got a Batmobile from a good friend of mine.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yes,
I don't think
Scott.
people realize that the Batmobile came with the Keaton Batman too. Like it was.
Yeah, I have it. I have him over there too. I showed him on when I tried to do Film Junkie Live on Monday, and it didn't work. But I have him leaned up against the bat signal right there, which is good. But thank you, sir.
Oh, you're welcome.
Appreciate it.
I have had that sitting in my stuff because I when those went live, those things like sold out within like.
I think I remember you telling me about that. Yeah,
I went ahead and ordered 2 that day because I asked if you were going to do it. I think money was tight at the time.
Yeah,
and money hadn't quite gotten tight for me at the time. So I ordered 2, and I've just been sitting on it this whole time, waiting.
You're awesome. Yeah, it's a good friend right there, my co-host, and we're going to be talking about Batman. But yes, thank you again. Yeah, birthday gift, and of course, we got the Batman figures, which, some of them like they have some tending to, they need a medic.
Stupid post office, I swear,
dude. I know, like it's kind of it's a funny thing too when it comes to the post office. But anyways, welcome to DC Fan-imated, guys. I'm of course Dave the Film Junkie, and with me as always, of course, is Scott McClellan. How's it going, man?
I'm Dave's demon.
Dave, we're talking about the demon within.
I've got some notes, man, for this episode. I don't even know I'm not sure where we're gonna start with this discussion, because I think there's more to this episode than people realize. I don't know. I think just with what we've talked about for the last 3.5 years on this stream, I just feel like now we get to an episode like this, and it's like, well, of course we're going to watch an episode like this.
Of course.
This is what we do. I mean, seriously.
This is what we do, and I figured you were going to have more notes probably than I have notes, because I mean, one of the things that you did mention last week was the fact that we're going to have a little Kirby in this.
Oh, we have a lot of Kirby in this.
A lot of Kirby. Yeah, see, that's the thing, and I'm sitting here just like going, I remember this episode, but yeah, details and backstories and stuff like that. I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be interesting to hear about, because
this was an episode that I never actually saw on television. This is one of the episodes I only saw when I got the DVD box set.
Gotcha. And go ahead and exit out and come back in, because the demon is pixelating you. Oh, gotta love it. What's going on? Hey, if it ain't broke, never mind. Hopefully you're doing good, man, when it comes to that hurricane. What's going on, Mr. Mahdi of Steel? Good to see you. Welcome back.
I know, the demon in StreamYard, apparently.
I know, right? By the way, is a hurricane going to affect you a little bit? Are you guys going to get a little stormy stuff?
No, like all we're getting is like beautiful, cool weather. I mean, and I don't mean this to be but I mean, seriously, what is my weather right now? I'm currently sitting at 66 degrees right now.
Lovely.
It's been a nice fall day today. Okay. And so, no, I mean, our biggest thing is just trying to help out anyone who's, trying to leave, who tried to evacuate Florida to get out of the way of this thing, because I saw some satellite images today, and it was just like, this is just nasty looking.
Really nasty. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, all we can really hope for is the fact that it will just start losing its mojo as it hits shore, which is what usually these storms do. And we can only hope that it just goes down, break down, where it doesn't, destroy Tampa. My God, that's where it's just hitting Tampa like head on. But yeah, I know Eric was in the chat, and I know he lives in Florida. So, and so hopefully, Eric, you're good. And anybody who's out there in Florida, hopefully you're good. We certainly hope that everything is going all right for you. But yeah, hopefully if you're in that freaking zone, you're out of there, and and getting all the evacuations and getting to shelter or wherever the hell you need to go. It's pretty nasty storm. And I mean, I saw like a video today where like in a certain part in Florida where the storm, it was so stormy that it created a tornado. I'm like, well,
I mean, welcome to the South. I mean, that's
yeah,
just
I know.
well, the problem, the thing, it's all the hot air because the thing with
Yes.
when the what I can't believe we're turning this into like a meteorological stream all of a sudden. But that's what happens with hurricanes. They come in from the Atlantic, and if they do that thing where they dip into the Gulf of Mexico, oh, now you're just fucked.
Yeah,
Because what happens is the Gulf of Mexico is already warm, and
that's
so
right.
all that warm air just like charges it up. So
That's
that's why whenever things like Andrew, Katrina,
yeah,
those the big ones that happen, it's when they come to the Gulf and all that hot, warm air just feeds it, and that's when nasty things happen. So
yeah,
yeah.
crazy. But anyways, talk about the demon within. We got a demon of a storm. But yeah, that's what we're talking about tonight. Another Batman adventures. And hey, good old Tim's here. At
Tim
least we
is here. It
yeah. Remember for like a bit there. I mean, it's kind of interesting how like we were like, where's Tim? Where's Tim? And we got Babs a lot, which is fine. But at the same time, we were like, where's Tim? And now it seems like Tim's just been pretty he's been pretty frequent in these last couple of episodes, few episodes.
it is nice, and I think it also works for who our antagonist is
Oh yeah.
in this episode. So Dave, I'm kind of curious because my notes really aren't about the episode itself. My
I
notes
think
are my notes are more like all the goodies that like I'm here for. So I guess the question is, where would you like to start with this
well,
episode?
I mean, obviously, the episode starts with Bruce and Tim at an auction,
Right.
and it's just one of those like where Bruce just wants to get Tim out of the house and doing something where he's not playing video games and whatever the hell, and Tim's just like ugh. But then, of course, he sees this young kid, and he's like, "Oh, okay. If there's another kid here, maybe I can make friends with him because Tim's a very friendly kid." But when you see the haircut
Yes.
of this kid, you go, I mean, literally, like he styles his hair to be like, oh yeah, I have magical
Horns.
demon powers. Yeah,
Yeah, I
potentially.
mean, no, there are literal horns of hair pointing off of this character's name. This character, because this character's name is literally Clarion the Witch Boy.
There we go. The witch boy.
The Witch Boy. Yeah, depending on which variation of his story. But if you go back, because he is Clarion is a Jack Kirby creation.
I don't
And
doubt it.
yeah, he comes from a dimension known as Witch World.
See, I don't even know this character really at all. At all.
You don't know
Never heard-
Clarion at all?
No, I don't.
Okay. Now, I will admit most of my Clarion knowledge has come from various incarnations in animated show. He's a major part of Young Justice, the cartoon series.
Okay, yeah, somebody just said that in the chat right there. Literally just said like also featured in Young Justice right
Oh,
there.
he's a major recurring antagonist in Young Justice because also in the
I can't
comics,
remember.
yeah, because in the comics, he was there when Kirby created him, which something I discovered today in my research was I didn't realize how connected Clarion and Etrigan were. Because we're going to talk about that. It's not a coincidence that they both show up in this episode together. I will say that.
Ooh.
Yeah. But he shows up in Kirby's original creation. He kind of disappears for a bit. He gets brought back by Peter David for the Young Justice comic book series, which was the one in the 90s that had Connor Kent, Superboy, Tim
Mm.
Drake, Robin, Cass, Wonder Girl, the inspiration for the animated series, and had featured heavily in an arc called Sins of Youth, and then disappears again. And then Grant Morrison, because doesn't this seem like a character Grant Morrison would have fun with? I mean,
Well, absolutely, of course.
Well, Grant Morrison brings him back in a mini series, a series of one shots called Seven Soldiers Seven Soldiers of Victory or something. It's also the one that famously he introduces what he says is the anti-life equation, and he kind of brings Clarion back, tries to strip away the Peter David version and go a little bit more back to the Jack Kirby version. So those are some big ones. But yeah, Clarion the Witch Boy, definitely this episode was my introduction to the character, but definitely Young Justice the animated series was my largest exposure to him.
Okay. Because I'm trying to, yeah, because I think that's why I only know him from animation as well. And go ahead and exit out again, of course, because Clarion is fucking with your shit right now. But yeah, I mean, I only know him from animation. I don't know him from the source material. So yeah, and then I'm trying to remember from Young Justice. Who knows? Yeah. So welcome back.
Yeah. Now there is unfortunately some sad news that's connected to Clarion in this episode.
Okay.
The actor who voices Clarion, his name was Stephen Wolf Smith. Not, I mean, there are a couple of movies that, I mean, I don't know who he is in these movies, but he does show up. He was in Universal Soldier, and he was also in Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Wait. Universal Soldier? He was a kid?
Okay. At the time, so in 1998, he would have been like 37.
Okay.
He's putting on the kid voice because he's like in his late 30s.
It's not an actual kid. Okay.
It's not an actual kid. No.
Because he's got a crazy laugh.
He does. Unfortunately,
what's his name again? Sorry. What's his name again?
Stephen Wolf Smith. He was a British actor.
Smith. Because I watch Universal Soldier so much. Okay, he was in. Yeah, they show that. Show an actual picture from him. Okay, I see him, but I'm like, what was he in Universal Soldier? He had to be like one of the tech dudes. I don't know. Let's see. Let me type in Yeah. Oh, that's sad. It does say obituary. It's like Jesus Christ.
No. He was 39 when he passed away.
Yeah.
This was his last role.
No shit. So
yeah.
So Universal Soldier was before this.
Yeah, because this comes out in 1998.
Oh yeah, that's right. And Universal Soldier came out in like 94 or something like that. Right?
Yeah. But yeah, so this comes out in 1998. He dies in 2000. So this performance as Clarion was his final performance ever.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, even when you pull it up, he must have had like a really small role in that because he's not even pulling up. So, well, yeah, that's a little sad, but I mean, he does a great job. Like I said, he pulls the kid voice off very well, and Clarion has like a crazy fucking laugh. Joker-esque.
Yes. Well, he's also such a. They play with the fact that it's a snot-nosed brat, right?
Jesus Christ. You could tell Batman is just like, and the way that this episode, like where it goes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what's good that Tim is in this. And then of course, when he's talking to him and he's got this little cat and, and then when
which is funny because he's a witch boy.
Yeah.
And what do witches typically have? They have familiars, and that's what Teakle is the cat's name. That's what Teakle is his familiar.
His familiar. And then so there's like an auction happening, and you get this branding iron. And it's so funny because every time I hear branding iron, I always forget what exactly it is, because over here in my neck of the woods, Scott, there is literally a place that I didn't attend frequently, but there is a club It was an 18 and over club, not a 21 and over, an 18 and over that was called the Branding Iron, which they did a lot of line dancing stuff. I never partook. Line dancing, not my thing. I mean, but when you have someone of a female persuasion who wants to go, you watch. So you watch them do their thing and stuff like that. I mean, I might have got on there a couple of times to dance for,
I'm sure
but
you did.
of
I'm
course,
sure you did.
sometimes you have to. But it was just kind of funny because anytime that I think of a branding iron, I don't think it's even around anymore. But as soon as I turned 18, it was like, let's go to the branding iron. It was like one of those things because we couldn't drink there, of course, but well, they didn't have alcohol because it was 18 and over. But anyways, well, I think they did, but yeah, of course. Anyways, but I just think about that. But yeah, so that's what they're auctioning off, and of course, it's got the M on it.
Yes,
And
because whose branding iron was it?
It was well, your Instagram kind of like the name of that, So
Yeah, well, this branding iron belonged to Morgan Le Fay, who God, this is why this character mythology just like speaks to my soul because it's all woven into Arthurian mythology.
Mhm.
But Morgan Le Fay was King Arthur's half sister,
Mm.
and she was the magical one. Uh, this depending on which version of the story. Actually, no. Yeah, this is the one that usually Morgan Le Fay is the one that Arthur slept with and produces Mordred because remember his son was his nephew. Yeah, messed up crap in Arthurian
Mm,
Arthurian literature.
mm.
But if you've seen Excalibur, this would be the same character that is portrayed by dear God, why am I blanking on her name? Uh, plays the mom, the criminal mother in the Fast and Furious movies. Helen Mirren. There we
There you go.
go.
There we go.
Morgan Le Fay is who Helen Mirren plays in Excalibur.
There you go.
So, but that's whose branding iron it is. So it's a cool little thing because she's also a character who I think we meet later on in the universe. So
Mm.
teasing things to come.
Teasing things to come, but yes. So then there's a bidding war between this kid and then we meet Jason Blood.
I know, and it's really funny too because you see him because
Yeah.
he's got that iconic haircut.
Yeah,
You
he's got
know,
quite a fucking hairstyle.
I mean, dude, you got that giant, like brushed back red hair, but you got you've got that rogue streak, as we call it, that just goes right down the middle, that white streak. But I love how the show treats you like you would know who Jason Blood is, because as soon as you see the character, Shirley Walker scores like da da da,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh my god, big reveal, and of course I'm sitting
And
there
then you're
going,
like, huh? And I'm
huh?
like, is that what's his name? Who played man? No, I was like, no, nobody's gonna know who, especially when you're, I mean, I had no idea who it was. I just thought crazy hairstyle. He's probably got some powers or something like that because, yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're talking about a title of an episode called "The Demon Within," there's got to be something
And your
magical
name is
about him.
Jason Blood.
Blood.
I mean,
Jesus Christ. I mean, that sounds like a franchise right there.
well, it was
Yeah.
actually. So I guess is where I'm going to jump into it.
Yeah. Jump into it. Jump into it now.
Okay.
Who is this guy?
Okay. Jason Blood and his alter ego, Etrigan the Demon, created by Jack Kirby,
Of course.
first appeared in The Demon #1 in September 1972.
Ooh, wow.
So
Not
this
bad.
is this is right when this is smack dab in the middle of Jack Kirby creating his fourth world saga at DC. But this story is how Mark Evier, who we've talked about before, because of all the Kirby stuff he wrote for Superman the animated series, he tells the story that basically Carmine Infantino, the DC editor at the time, and that's a name if you're a longtime DC Comics fan. Carmine Infantino is a name, right? He he made his presence known through like the 60s and the 70s, editing, being like the editor in chief of DC Comics. He wanted a horror character, and it was not something that Jack Kirby was that interested in. But basically, what Infantino did was, as part of the as Jack was writing the Fourth World Saga, he canceled New Gods and Forever People.
Oh, wow.
To make room for Kirby to work on the Demon, because he wanted a horror character. It was kind of like a trend at the time, and it was apparently very well known. Kirby was not a fan of this, because he was all into his Fourth World stuff, and Infantino was hoping that a horror character would sell better books, because New Gods and Forever People were like the two lowest selling titles of the Fourth World Saga. And so that's why he scrapped those. And so that's what led us to getting Etrigan. Clarion first appeared in the Demon number 7, which came.
Wow, took 7 issues.
Yeah, right. Well, because he was established as Etrigan's arch nemesis, which I didn't know until doing this research, that's why it's appropriate for Etrigan and Clarion to both be in this episode together. Also, originally in that Kirby run, Etrigan / Jason Blood were based in Gotham City, so he would have team ups with Batman.
Oh, okay.
So it's appropriate for him to be in a Batman episode.
Yeah, because I mean, when you watch this episode, Bruce knows who Jason is. Like,
and you're like, when the hell did this happen?
Yeah, I know. That's one of those. It's one of those things, like just like the fucking the Fate episode.
The Dr. Fate. Yes, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, Superman.
I'm like, where the fuck? I mean, now we got Batman knowing some fucking magical guy kind of dude, and I'm almost like, oh, okay, immediately I have it on my notes. So I was like, this is like how Superman knew Dr. Fate was already. It's like, all right, so no.
At least Batman's got a time jump.
Yeah,
we had 2 years missing.
Yeah,
but still, and it's so weird. I remember when I first saw this episode, it was such a weird feeling to watch this episode where you have demons and witch boys and magic from a series that when we had Zatanna, she was literally an illusionist. Like the most magical thing we've gotten in this series up to this point was the Lazarus Pit.
Yeah,
with Raish.
That's Raish. That's it. We've only got Raish. That's a magical. Yeah, that's it.
And so it's just like, this one was a leap for me when I first saw it. But then it's kind of cool doing the research and going, no, well, if you go back to what Kirby created, like all these characters were actually like interlinked from the beginning, and I thought that was cool.
It's cool. It definitely is. And then it's funny because there's a bidding war between because they're at the auction, so they're bidding on the branding iron, and they go back and forth, Jason and what's his name, Clarion, and then they go back and forth, and then Bruce just goes $1 million.
Mic drop.
Total mic drop, and then everybody's just like, "Ooh!" And then I like of course, Tim is like, what the obviously he's talking about like upping his allowance because he sees this kid that's not betting, but putting in a bid for like $100,000 and all this stuff. It's like, what the hell? This kid has this kind of money? Like, what is going on? I need to up my allowance. And so they do that, but then of course we find out like, oh, okay, he was helping out Mr. Jason Blood right here for getting him this artifact that he wanted to get. But this kid is just obnoxious and just creepy and
that cat looks evil,
totally evil. And then I love how he calls Jason Uncle Jason, and then of course Bruce is just like, hey, how do you have a nephew like that? He's not really my nephew. He just likes to call me that to be a little shit. And he turned his parents into mice, he said. And it's like, yes. Oh yeah. It's like, no, he just passed us up a joke. No, he really probably did.
He probably did. Yeah. Mm-hmm. definitely.
No.
Okay, so the whole time Jason's talking,
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out who the fuck this guy was. I was like, I
Yeah.
know
Who
this
is
voice.
this guy?
And I pulled and I had a little bit of a you, Dave moment because I was like, I
Ooh.
know this voice. I know this voice. And then I stayed to the credits and I literally went, oh shit,
Oh man, who is it?
it's Billy Zane.
Billy Zane. Oh. What? Oh, now I'm disappointed. Oh man. No
I
shit.
Yes, Billy Zane
Oh,
is
I knew I recognized it. Oh, I knew I
I did
recognized it.
too. I know.
Oh.
Because he's both Jason and he's Etrigan.
Of course he's doing both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. Man. I was like, I know this voice, and I'm like, and I was waiting for it. That's why I was like, who is it? Who is it? I'm gonna be disappointed in myself, but I'm glad that you also
Oh
had.
God, I had such a
Jesus Christ.
I know, because I was just going, why do I know this voice? Why do
Yeah.
I know? And I kept on thinking, is it this? Is it that? And I just do not know. Maybe it's just been too long since I watched a Billy Zane movie or something. But I was just like, dude, they got Billy Zane. This is the same year Titanic comes out. I mean,
Oh wow, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, it is.
yes.
Yeah. Jeez. Billy freaking Zane. Man.
I mean, let's be
The
honest.
Phantom himself.
The man, there's a movie that I've not seen since I saw it in theaters. I really need to give that one another watch.
Which one?
It The
The Phantom?
Phantom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it in theaters. I just watched it when it was on HBO all the time. And it was kind of funny too because it was like recently I tweeted out, or not tweeted out, but retweeted, like somebody had one of those like gifts that had like, multiple different windows that were like moving. He was like the villain in Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. Did you ever watch that one?
No, I never watched any of the Tales of the Crypt movies. No,
Yes,
yeah.
that was the very first Tales from the Crypt movie that was released theatrical, and he was like the antagonist, and he is fucking awesome. He's so great in that. Yeah, I mean it. If you ever get a chance to watch it, watch it. It's a stupid. It's like just basically a long Tales from the Crypt movie, but a little bit more production value. Obviously, they had a release in theaters. But he plays such a good villain in that. He's so great because he's like the main, you know,
I'm still
the
waiting for
main.
that Marlon Brando
Oh
biopic to come
yeah,
out. Because, dude, the makeup on him, I'm like, dude, that looks like Brando. What?
dude. Yeah, I forgot about that. When is that coming out?
I have no idea.
I know. It was just like, hey, guess what? Billy Zane is playing Marlon Brando. Here's some freaking set images, and here's an image right here, and everybody's like, huh? When was this announced?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
seeing him in this episode was just like, oh,
that's
that
cool.
is so cool. Like,
Yeah.
yes.
So of course they go back to his place, and we finally realize that okay, Bruce knows this guy. Okay, and then of course Tim, who's very just like, look at this, look at that, and he sees the statue of like this demon statue, and then he's like, oh wow, well look behind it, and then you turn it around and you go,
Mm.
face kind of looks like you, Mr. Jason Blood.
Yeah. And I love how he explains. He gives a very it's an info dump, but it's done really quickly
It is.
and really well. I mean, you
He
get like,
brings up Merlin, right?
well, because okay, so the way what Kirby did with the story was back during the days of Camelot,
Yeah.
uh, because Merlin is half demon slash half devil himself.
Mm-hmm.
He's like half devil, half man. That's how he's a wizard. That's the whole like aging backwards thing and all of that. Um, the part that kind of gets whitewashed over, if all you've ever seen of Merlin is the Sword in the Stone, and the Disney version. But the idea is that he raised a demon from hell to defend Camelot.
Mm.
Because Etrigan is a demon, so he
Yeah.
is actually from hell, and there's the idea that there's a hierarchy of demons in hell, and so he's that hierarchy that he's a rhyming demon.
Ah.
So that's why a lot of times they do it like once as a gag in this episode, but traditionally when you see Etrigan in comics and in any kind of movie or animated adaptation, he talks in rhymes because he's a
Mm.
rhyming demon, because that's his like class level in the, in the pantheon of hell. It's really fun because he also makes he also shows up in the you watch the Sandman series
Yeah.
on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Remember the episode where Dream goes to hell?
Okay. Yes.
In the comic, Etrigan's there.
Oh, but he wasn't in the series.
No, because the series
Yeah.
really stripped out any DC
Connection.
any
Yeah.
DC Comics connections.
That makes
Uh,
sense. Yeah. There wasn't too much there except for, yeah.
no, but that's kind of one of those things where it's like, so he's supposed to be a rhyming demon where everything he says is a rhyme
Mm.
because he's a demon. But the idea is that Merlin brought him up from hell and used him as a defender of the realm. And then of course, Blood talks about how after the death of Arthur, he had to keep the demon around because Merlin also for various reasons, depending on which version of the legend you read, he pieces out. He binds him to a knight of the Round Table, and so it's Jason Blood. So he's cursed. It's kind of like, what's the relationship between Etrigan and Jason Blood? It's like now Jason Blood's immortal, but it's because he's forever bound with a demon. And the really dark shit, here's something that this episode doesn't get into at all, is the idea is that when Etrigan is unleashed, Jason has swapped with him and Jason's in hell while
Oh, fuck.
Etrigan. And so when Etrigan turns back to Jason, they swap places again, and Etrigan goes back to hell and Jason's on Earth. Like, that's the dark shit they don't get into. Is like they're swapping places when that transformation happens.
Wow. So we just found Zack Snyder's favorite episode of the animated. It's pretty much, I mean, Jesus Christ. This would be, if you would think like, what is it? What if Zack Snyder had a favorite episode of the animated series? This would be it, because it just deals with everything that's right up his alley right here.
Oh, so it's
Yeah.
it's a really cool thing. So I like it how the animated series, because we only get 22 minutes and it's a Saturday morning cartoon, but
Yeah.
Jason gives you a really quick version of the Etrigan backstory. But then the whole time, to keep the plot moving, they're talking and they're distracted, like Tim looking at that bust of Etrigan, giving Teakle the opportunity to sneak into
And
Jason's study.
yeah. So Tickle, of course, the cat, and then, to try to get that branding iron. And then of course we find out that, oh yeah, well, Tickle is not just a little tiny cat, it's a cat person, where it just kind of, you know, and goddamn the sound effect.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Creepy. Creepy sounding, man. Holy Lord. Creepy sounding.
Oh
But
yeah. So and that's actually from the comics. Like Teakle has the ability
I,
to turn
yeah,
into a were-cat
yeah.
form to help
Where
serve Clarion. Yeah.
where cat's good. I was like cat person. I was like, it's a cat person. I'm not gonna assume gender. I'm just saying it's a cat person. So, but
Stop.
yeah, puts up a fight out. Puts up a fight. And then of course this is where this is where we get Itrigan, and like where he like actually comes out and puts up a fight. And then this is where, I mean, it's
Because
funny.
that's also, I was going to stop you right there,
Hmm,
because that's the summoning
yes.
of Etrigan.
Yeah.
Uh, gone the form of man, arise the demon Etrigan. Please
Yeah.
notice, what does that chant do?
It brings out Etrigan.
No, no, no.
Oh, what does that do?
Gone the form of man, arise the demon Etrigan.
Oh, it rhymes.
It
Yeah.
rhymes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a duh. Yeah. Yeah. Because you just
Yeah.
said the rhyming demon. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Actually, funny thing, I was watching the episode. Only part of Billy Zane's performance that disappointed me was his delivery of the chant. It was a,
Ah.
it was really quick, and usually there's a little bit more, you know, you get the first part really quickly. Usually it's like gone, gone the form of man, and usually you get like the big dramatic like arise the demon, Hetragon,
But it was
and
just
this
kind of
one.
subtle.
It was very subtle. It was
Yeah.
very gone, gone the form of man, arise the demon, Etrigan, because it's like we got shit to do.
Yeah, we got shit to do. Like we got the two human beings right here. One's a kid, and yeah, they're this fucking person, this cat person is just like fucking things up right here. Not to mention there's fire and stuff. Well, fire eventually happens, but yeah, they fight it out, and then of course, what's the cat's name again?
Teakle.
Tickle. That's right. I was like trickle. Yeah,
You were close.
I was close. I was close. I was
Take the
close.
R out. Throw
Yeah,
that
take
R
the
out.
R.
Teakle.
Tickle. Spill some, lighter fluid from a lantern, and starts like setting fire to the place, and of course gets away with the branding iron. And Etrigan, of course, just grabs Bruce and Tim to get out of the fire. And then of course I love how like Bruce, very fatherly, like get a fire extinguisher, like he tells Tim just like get it, and he's all kind of scratched up. They're both kind of just like effed up from this whole thing. So yeah, it's quite a fight. But again, the sound that comes out of oh man, it's like ugh, it's a little
Yeah,
creepy.
it was very creepy because sometimes that cat, not when it's in its were form, but especially in the scene where Teakle arrives at Clarion's place and delivers the branding iron. The design of Teakle reminded me of that cat from the Laughing Fish.
Mm. Okay,
Remember,
yeah,
remember the
yeah. I
one that
remember.
like, oh, don't worry, it's just my cat, and
Mhm.
and the cat's got a Joker fish in its mouth, and like the cat reminds the way they drew the Teakle in this episode reminds me of like the Jokerized cat in the
Yeah.
Laughing Fish.
I totally know what you're talking about. Exactly. And then, of course, Clarion is just like, okay, now he's got his. And I love it. He's just sitting in a chair and he's just like tapping his foot, like waiting for it. And then, of course, he starts doing his thing where it's like, oh, so we go back and Jason starts going, bah! He's like, ah. And then Etrigan just kind of just rises from him, and of course, you see the basically, the M on his forehead, and it's like, okay. And then it's like, nope, you're no longer my, nope, this guy, I'm gonna go over here where the fucking branding iron is. And it kind of makes you wonder too, is like, with this branding iron, where was it this whole time? Did they even mention that?
No,
And
no, they don't. It's just kind of like it's like all these antiques. They just
yeah,
they
just
they
show
just
up.
just they just they just show up.
Yeah,
They've
a
been
bunch
they've
of
been in some
archaeologists died to
some
try to
archaeologists just
find.
died. Some rich person died. It was part of their
Yeah,
collection. Some house. They just
yeah.
it just floats around and then
Or-
conveniently pops up for an episode. It's just that's how these things work. That's how magical artifacts work, Dave. Don't you
Pretty
know
much.
this? I
Of
mean,
course, I've seen many episodes of many series that have something like this, and movies, and I mean Indiana Jones. It came.
Jones. I mean, that's exactly where my mind went.
Yeah,
They're just
exactly.
always there.
You
Yeah.
just find something, and just to get it to a certain spot, people die. People die, get possessed, something happens. So, and you better believe that this happened here. But yeah, so then he leaves, and then it's just like one of those things where it's like, oh shit. So now, because obviously Jason, he's been around forever. So now that he doesn't have Etrigan in him, he is now like, oh shit, this is what was keeping me alive, keeping
Alive.
me
Yeah.
young, keeping my awesome haircut and everything. So it's like he's gonna start like aging now. And then it's kind of funny too, because it's like he already knows that Clarion is just gonna be like, okay, so it's like, okay, we gotta find him, And so Bruce is like, well, I'm going to go find him. And, Tim, you stay here. And he's like, oh, wait a minute. He's a kid. I think you need a kid. But then like Jason's like, this spoiled brat, I already know he's going to, with this power, he's not going to be just like, oh, I'm going to use
He's
it.
not gonna be subtle.
No,
No,
he's not going to be
no.
subtle. He's going to do his thing, which he does. And it's like, holy shit. Does he totally abuse his power? But I'm just like, the first thing that we see, it's kind of funny because they're coming out of a movie theater after watching a movie. And I'm like, did nobody like freak out before? Like there were so he was just sitting in a movie watching with a big huge demon next to him, but
it is Gotham City. Like let's
State, so they maybe thought he was just in costume or something. But when they're coming out of the movie theater, all of a sudden, then you're seeing people just like run out of it. And then, this fucking little shit, Clarion is just like, I hate sequels anyways. And he's like, destroy the the marquee. So of course, Edgerton just like freaking destroys the marquee. And then now it's like, oh, I want ice cream. Stop that ice cream truck so I can get some ice cream. And oh yeah, let's break into this this bakery that has cakes so I can get cakes.
Oh, did you catch the Easter egg?
No, I didn't.
Kirby's Cake Shop.
Of course I didn't. Oh man. Oh, I didn't even see that. I didn't look.
Yeah,
I was too busy writing notes. I was like, oh yeah, he's eating cake now. Shit. That would have been cool. See, I'll have to go back and check that out.
Oh yeah, it's on the window. It's on the window right before they break through it. It says Kirby's Cake Shop.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Because
yeah.
I mean, like even with the Penguin series, they
Burgess
like
Jewelry.
Burgess Jewelry. I'm like, there it is, Burgess Meredith. Hell yeah, there you go. Just stuff like that where they name like certain places over, with people that that's just really cool. But so that's happening. Then it's like, oh, that train's too loud, so destroy the train. So I mean, this I don't like those buildings, they're ugly, destroy them. I mean, yeah, he's just like totally abusing this power, and it's just like, I don't care what anybody does. But of course, Batman's gonna, and it's a really cool shot when he shows up. Oh, with the moon and the red and everything is just
because this is the A-Team
animation. Yes,
this is the South Korean studio. You can always tell because I've noticed that the really great episodes, like Over the Edge, this episode, you can tell because it's always a Korean director. It's not one of the American directors. And it's just like, yep, that studio's doing the animation because this episode looked gorgeous. Beautiful.
And then I love it when it's like, all right, so now we got Batman trying to face somebody who has magical powers, which is always, it's like, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And then like, that's why it's just like when I typed in for the thumbnail, I was like, yeah, I could put Edgerton on there, but I was like, I love this shot of Batman when he's got spikes, yeah. And then he's just like, and then it's cool because Tim and Jason are back. They're back at his place, and they're watching through like a little magic ball. Of course,
it's literally a crystal ball. I mean,
it's a crystal ball.
It's a crystal ball. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah, let's call it what it is. It's a crystal ball. So they're watching, and of course, Tim's just like, "Hey, he's dying. What are you gonna do?" And then Jason, and it's funny because every time we see Jason, he's getting older.
I love it. I mean, like even within the same scene, they cut away. Look at the crystal ball. They cut back to him. It's so cool that they've made sure that every time they cut back to him, he has gotten older and more haggard. I mean, there's no two shots where he looks the same age.
Nope.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I like that. But of course, he's still trying to help Batman. And I really like this because it's like, okay, because it's almost like if you were just, in real life, like say it's like Gordon and Batman. It's like Gordon would be like telling him, go here, go there. This time it's like literally he's just helping him through magic, through the crystal ball to fight somebody who has magical powers. And it's just kind of cool because I don't know, it's just kind of I don't know. I liked it. I just thought this
It
whole
makes more sense than maybe Batman casting spells himself. Is
yes,
that no, he's just there doing the Batman thing. Jason's got his back casting counter spells to ward off whatever it is that Clarion is doing. Like that's cool to me. Because
yeah.
later on, Batman does get to say a spell, and it feels kind of weird, not gonna lie.
I mean, with Kevin Conroy doing his thing, but at the same time, but like he's trying to do his thing, and then of course, then there's like a point where Batman like he turns him into like almost like a tree or something
Yes.
like that too, and
Yeah.
it's just like, but it's just it's Batman very much out of his element to the point where it's like, oh yeah, he definitely needs the help, and it's just cool what Jason ends up doing to like help him out, like the different things that he does, and then
The
of course,
one that always stuck with is the one that always stuck with me in my head, like, whenever I thought of this episode, the image that always popped into my head was when Jason takes out, like the I don't know what you would call it, like, it's a stone or a gem or something, and he basically, like, gets the disco lights going back at his place, and then the Etrigan, all he sees is Batman suddenly, like, multiplied. Like,
yes,
that's always the shot that I think of when I think of this episode, was
it's
suddenly
cool.
like the mini Batman popping
Yeah,
up.
all the different ones, yes, and it's just it's just a cool little sequence that happens right here where it's like, yeah, Batman's very much out of his element, but he's got the help from the dude who is like aging by the second, and he's still able to summon as much power to help Batman out as much as possible. And and this, I mean, we're just going to start jumping right into the clip
I
because
mean, well, honestly, because now we get into, fighty fighty zappy zappy.
fighty fighty, all that stuff, and this is where I kind of have it right here, and it's just
Get me that blue powder on the shelf over there.
yeah.
Now,
Now at
spread it
this
around
point,
us in a circle.
What good will that
Egerton
do?
or
Do what I
Egerton
say.
Edgerton is like a
Etrigan.
Edgerton. Yes, I'm thinking of fucking that actor. He's already going to be heading back
Sukalak,
now
Kodon,
to
Yes.
defeat them. So now he's like, all right, I got to like protect us because he's on
Okay,
his
it's done.
way back. And there he is.
Which is really funny because he does like the circle of blue powder, and
Yeah.
normally
This is the
in like
only place where you'll
fantasy
be
and
safe.
magic, that would be
No
salt.
salt.
Yes.
He'd be creating a circle of salt because evil demons can't, because salt's pure and it creates a protective barrier as long as you don't break the circle.
I do
Don't
like
give up,
even before
Etrigan.
this, like where he helps Batman out when he's in the dead end and he puts him in the wall. That was pretty cool.
Can I have
Yes.
some of this powder for my utility belt?
Can I put this in my utility belt?
Oh,
Good animation,
oh man, look at the lighting sword. Man.
right?
Looks like it's time for another spell, Mr. Blood. Mr. Blood?
Yeah.
Tim's so coolness. I mean, he's not freaking out. And he's just like, fuck it.
Yes!
And then this
Quiet,
little shit.
Tico. I want to savor this.
But then the cat's
said
like,
quiet.
Dude.
yeah, Batman's back.
God.
That's mine!
I love how he just holds it up over his head.
I know, he's
Like,
exactly.
short stuff. Good luck with that.
And then Tim is just like, fuck it. Let me try to punch you. Tim's got balls. And look at how frail he is. Teeth missing.
God.
The witch is evil now.
And then here we go.
Make the one from what is to.
One,
That's a cool
two.
shot right there.
Yeah, it is. The camera
Yeah.
tilting. Oh man, it's becoming the down shot going to the up shot.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And then here we go. Oh, put back to normal. Get rid of the brand.
And they become
Yes.
one again.
Oh,
Etrigan? Mr. Blood? I know you've been through a lot tonight. Both of
I
you.
love that.
But we've
Etrigan,
still got a
Blood?
problem.
This little
Okay.
shit.
No, this
Tico,
is a great Batman.
That's
I mean, he just like, I love when he just stamps her like right in the forehead.
Yep.
Oh,
Right in the head. Sit.
So you've picked up a few tricks. It won't save you.
It won't save you.
Yeah. Now here's Batman completely out of his element.
Yeah, because he has no help now.
It's like Dragon Ball Z. It's
Pretty
like
much.
Level.
This is very anime.
Yeah.
Very anime right here. And I like how Tim just got into the Robin costume real quick.
Now, see, that's a common use of Etrigan, is that blowing the hellfire from his mouth. That's usually what you see Etrigan doing in the comics and stuff.
Makes sense.
Oh, here we go.
What
This
now?
is what's going to happen.
Grief, father's shame. Soon he goes to whence
He came.
What's that mean?
I'm sending him
Sending him
to
to
his
his room.
And then I love this right here.
Out tonight.
Don't ask. Just don't ask.
Don't ask.
It's just one of those things where you're like, what the fuck just happened? You know, and then of course his room is just there. It is right in there, crystal ball, just in the corner.
On Jason's shelf.
Yep. And that's it.
I mean, I did feel a little gypped that like that's the only rhyming we got was that little bit. But they made a great joke about where Tim was like, what does that mean? I'm sending him to his room.
That's a good line.
It's a good line.
And then because but then it just ends with like, because Tim is just like, he kept his cool through the whole thing, but then he's just like, dude, what the fuck just happened? And Batman's like, don't even even let's just go home and sleep and hopefully not have any nightmares. I'm sure Tim's gonna probably have a nightmare or two after that. I mean, my God,
oh my
dealing
God.
with demons and shit. But great, it's a really fun
episode.
Yeah,
man.
it really is. It's so out of left field and everything, and it's very, it's got the Kirby.
But you know what? It's not critters.
It's very true. I would prefer demons and snot-nosed fucking powerful brats over big praying mantises. Yes, I would totally do. Yeah.
So it's really weird. I remember I made this complaint a little bit. I think when we watched Critters, it's like, this just doesn't feel like stuff that Batman deals with. Yet somehow this episode's like, no, Batman would deal. This is the kind of stuff Batman would deal with. I don't know why. There's a giant mutated monsters, not so much, but yet black magic occult shit in Gotham. Yeah, I could see that.
I think what helps it is we already know that Bruce knows this guy. I mean, and he's already. It's almost like I already know what I'm kind of dealing with, and I think it's just that whole aspect of the fact that you have Jason that was helping him out at first, and it was just everything that he helped him out with was really cool. And then when he was even out of his element. When he got the branding iron, he still was like, all right, I could still get out of it. And then of course he gets his ass saved. He gets his ass saved by Etrigan, but at the same time, it's just, I don't know. It just all works. It just flows very well. And you just accept it.
I know. I think it's something. Yeah. Yeah. I remember back, it was at the tail end, it wasn't the New 52 anymore, but it wasn't Rebirth yet. And I remember there was a really cool series called Gotham by Midnight that was like, it was like all these like detectives doing like that kind of work, because the New 52 had a really great Etrigan series that I enjoyed called Demon Knights, Knights. Of course. And it was all like post-fall of Camelot, like kind of stuff. So some cool stuff if you got. I mean, those are some recommendations I would have, because check out Demon Knights from the New 52. That was a great little series. And then, check out Gotham by Midnight. It only lasted like 12 issues because, like I said, it was like right before Rebirth happened. but it's got Jim Corrigan, so you've got Spectre stuff, and they're just dealing with occult nastiness in Gotham, and Gotham, because it's got this history of a city that like black magic occult shit just works for Gotham, because you can imagine Gotham's been around long enough to like it's seen that stuff, and then you just get like the cool dark urban fantasy kind of feel when it's like modern day Gotham dealing with this. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's
Sounds cool.
it's a genre that I really enjoy. I think it's why, if Constant, like this is an episode like you're just waiting for Constantine to show up at some
I know.
point.
It's like, why doesn't he just show up like or something like that? But it's funny too. Is like, the whole full circle thing. You said Demon Knights. I mean, I talked about how Billy Zane was in Demon Knight. It's also spelled with the K as well,
K.
because there is that level of like when it comes to the protagonist in the story, he is a knight within the story and all this kind of stuff. But
Oh,
yeah,
neat.
yeah, and it's what's his name? God, I can't remember his name. What the hell's his name? He played he was in Shawshank. He played Death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Yeah, I can't remember his name. You know who I'm talking about.
I know
You
who
know.
you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was also in Die Hard 2. I can't remember his name though, but yeah, he's like the he's technically the knight when it comes to the demon, even though it's like it's a play on words, because he goes to this hotel and all of a sudden the demons show up where he's at. But yeah, they call it Demon Knight and it's spelled with a K, so it's just kind of cool.
Awesome. How was your
Yeah.
ESPN notification? I heard that.
I know, right? It just came through right here, and I don't even know what the hell. Oh yeah, they're just talking about the hurricane, because obviously there's a stadium that's going to be affected that's in Tampa. I don't know why
Oh, okay. Yeah.
that notification, but there it is. But yeah, there you go, guys. There's the Demon Within right here. Fun episode. Definitely a fun
Yes.
episode. And I didn't remember it fully. I just remembered fucking Clarion was just, I remember him the most, because I was like, oh yeah, this fucking little shit. So yeah, this little shit right here. But what we got
I'm telling you,
Oh.
like I said, go check out Young Justice, because there's some really
Okay.
great Clarion stuff in that.
Yeah.
What do we have next week? Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to do this.
Uh-oh.
Okay, we're not leaving Gotham City,
Still in Gotham.
but it's a Superman episode.
Oh, is it? Wait, it's that one. It's the one. It's the one I'm thinking of. It's the one I'm thinking of when Commissioner Gordon says a certain thing. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So, folks, it's going to confuse you, especially if you look at the thumbnail on Max.
Oh yeah.
But go to Superman the Animated Series, Season 3, Episode 2, and the episode is called Nighttime.
Nighttime, that's what it's called. Yeah. The thing that will stand out the most, which I think a lot of people, is something that Gordon says, because within the episode you go, oh yeah, and then it's just a funny line. It's a funny line that sticks out.
It's a
when
great
you said
episode.
When you said it was like a boat, it was something like that. I was like, oh, it's we're finally getting, and I couldn't remember the title, but at the same time, I'm like, oh yeah, it's finally when we get Gordon to say that line. I love it. All right, so there you go.
Yeah.
What's it called again? What's it called again?
Nighttime. K-N-I-G-H. Nighttime.
They're always playing that freaking the K-N-I. Yeah, they're always playing that one. So watch that for next week, guys. We appreciate you guys spending some time with us right now. Always great talking to you, Scott, about this stuff. And again, thank you again for the Batmobile and the Batmen that I have right here. Always appreciate it. And thank you very much. And you go ahead and plug away whatever you got going on right now.
Of course, you can find me on Twitter X at ScottDC27. You can find me on Instagram at McMerlin, and you can find me on Vero at Scott McClellan. You can follow my weekly discussions with Ray about the Penguin over at DC TV Squadcast, We have not recorded our review of episode 3 yet. That's my fault when it comes to scheduling, but we do have plans to record and publish our episode 3 discussion before episode 4 airs on Sunday. So that is forthcoming. But until then, you can head on over to World's Finest True Believers for the 100th and final episode of that podcast, where I was the host of this episode.
You were the captain.
I was the captain now, so that Chris Balga could be the guest to discuss one of his favorite books, JLA Avengers by Kurt Busiek and George Perez. So please go check that out. It was a wonderful discussion about that crossover. It was a first-time read for me, and it was also a wonderful send-off for that show and honoring our good friend Chris Balga. I have other things. Like I said, life just needs to slow the fuck down so that I can do some editing. I still have videos that I've been promising that I haven't produced or delivered because who's got the fucking time? But they will come at some point if y'all even care, but for right now, make sure you're subscribed to DCTV Squadcast to catch our Penguin shows. And now that Superman and Lois season 4 has premiered as of this week, we will be doing incremental episodes. We won't do a week to week on Superman and Lois, but we will be discussing Superman and Lois while we're also discussing the Penguin. So make sure that you're catching up on that. I watched the first episode today. There was 2 episodes that aired on Tuesday. Yeah, the show has not lost its the show has not lost its mojo.
That's what I've heard. I mean, I was just seeing people's reactions. I was like, oh shit. I'm like, well, I still have to catch up on Superman and Lois. So, but I don't care if I get spoiled with things. But I mean, the writing was on the wall. But the fact of the matter is like, how do they tell this story? And I saw people just going, huh? And I talked to Andy a little bit, and it was like, oh boy. It's going to be a good finale season for sure.
Yeah, the best thing you can say is that they knew it was the last season going into it.
Yes, just fucking put it all in there. But thank you guys for joining right now. We'll see you next week. And hit that like, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, do all that. And we love you. And we'll talk to you later.